Hello, welcome. Today I want to go over some rescues that I've done in the parks in the past. I have some video footage and photos to show you. But before we get into that, I just want to show you the gear that I use on rescues. I don't use all this stuff all at once, but these are some of the items that I might carry on me on a rescue in the parks. For reference, I work as a trail steward in the New York State Park System. In the front here we have an Olight Nova H2R, an Olight M1T Raider Plus, an Olight Warrior Mini, a refined P1 pen light, a VX7R quad band Yaesu radio, and then we have a dual band FT1D for the APRS functioning. We have a Maxpedition Versa Pack. This is a Proteus. And then on top of it, attached to the handle, I have a Warrior Assault Systems wrist pouch, which houses my navigation system inside of it. I was using another bag before this too, and you'll see that mentioned in the video. That is the VanQuest Toolcat 2.0. And this is the pack that I use, and it's loaded with very similar gear to what's in front of here, in fact. So, just wanted to give you an idea of what I am using on rescues, because I know some of you are curious about it. But let's get into the video. This is a map of our parks. If you can look at the map, there's Cold Spring in the south on the bottom of the photo. And then if you follow the photo, the directions of one of the streets up to the first P, kind of in the center, where there's a little circle, red circle with a green trail there, and a red, that's the red trail. And it says a little Stony Point, it kind of sticks out into the Hudson River. That P right there along the road, that's where we trail steward. And from that P there, when people go up that white trail, and they usually take the yellow trail down when it first hits them by making a left there to that first binocular point, and then they follow the yellow trail down to that small part of red, and then they take the red trail to the blue trail, which we call the Cornish Estate Ruins Trail, and then from that trail back down to where we are. So where the hikers have usually gotten lost in these examples, if we follow the white trail up again to the yellow trail by making a left on the yellow trail to that first binocular point, between the first binocular point and the second one, that's where the hikers tend to go off the trails and go down that steep gradient. You can kind of see in the center of the photo there, the contour lines on this map, if they're bunched together, it means it's very, very steep gradient on the map. So that's where they tend to get lost and go off the trail, or in some cases go further exploring, which they're not supposed to. So in these coming up examples, that's generally where we're talking about for lost hikers, with the exception of one example. This is a top view from the Undercliff Trail, and this was taken on a patrol up, just to give you an idea of what it looks like. This is looking towards the southwest from our position where the rock quarry is. You can kind of see it there a little bit in the center of the photo, and it's pretty much illustrating how high up the yellow trail is and what the viewpoints look like from the Undercliff Trail, and approximately what the hikers see when they start going down potentially. It was a little bit further on the trail here, but that kind of gives you a hiker's point of view, I suppose, of what it looks like when you're hiking the trail. So in our first example, these are just photos. I didn't have time to take video, but they can illustrate what we were doing and the kind of gear that we use sometimes when we're rescuing lost hikers, especially hikers that are trapped on the cliffside on the steep gradient of that map that we showed. This is kind of in between the Cornish Estate and the Undercliff Trail on the steep side of the ledges. And this happened about a year ago or so, in June, I believe, of 2019, June 9th, I think. And we got a call in for two hikers who were lost and potentially injured. So my coworker Andrew and I, we took the Gator, which is a small four-wheel all-terrain vehicle. Not all-terrain, but it's a four-wheel drive type vehicle. It's a small cart, and we took it up the Cornish Estate Trail. And we tried to locate them, and luckily we did by calling out to them. They heard us driving up, and we were able to get to the two hikers, two young men from the city, and I managed to calm them down and keep them from moving, because if they would have moved, they would have fell off the cliff. Luckily, they were kind of in a safe spot to hold out for rescue, so they weren't in any immediate danger if they stayed put, which is good. So they were up there for about 3 hours before we got them down. And some of the photos you can see the climbing team on the bottom right, and up the top I managed to get a few photos supporting them with my headlamp there. My headlamp was a Olight Nova H2R. At the time it was a neutral white variant, and they had their own lights too, but their lights were not too bright and more of a spot type light, which was good to have. But I found that the Olight really did a good job of kind of illuminating everything and helping them out. So we got them down safely, no real injuries, which was good, and that was a good rescue. Unfortunately, we had to call on the rope rescue team from around West Point. They came across the river to our location. And I think there must have been at least probably 20 emergency vehicles. They closed down the road on 9D, so it was a big operation, I guess. Luckily, they came down alive and healthy, which was good. We kind of slowed our way back down the hill once everything was done, and the rope team really did a good job here. I believe they're part of the fire team near West Point, near that town over there. I'm not sure exactly where, but they were good guys. They were, they got the job done really well, really professionally. So we get a lot of good first responders for our rescue situations. So let's go on to the next example. So in this example here, we see Evan in the blue shirt and cap. We have Dave all the way in the front, and in between Dave and Evan is our lost hiker in the black shirt. He was up there, and he was having a hard time getting down. The area we found him at was pretty high up. It was in between the Undercliff Trail and the Cornish Estate Trail. So the next example after this is also, the hiker was also found in the same spot. This area is pretty dangerous because of the loose rocks, and as you can see in some of the videos, that it was very precarious. In this photo here, you can kind of see close to where we started our descent. This is sort of on the side of a cliff. We got to the bottom of it. You can see on the left side is our lost hiker up there. There's Evan in the center, and then there's Dave on the right going down. And so we had to plot our way down meticulously to make sure that we didn't kick any rocks or debris on ourselves going down and also coming up. So we had to take our time. Luckily, this was a quick, well, relatively quick in and out. And I think it was about 2 hours in total from start to finish. And no one had to go to the hospital or anything like that, luckily. So that was good. In this example here, we have a lost hiker. He's in the white with the black backpack, and in front of him is my co-worker and boss, Evan. And just down the trail here, it's very steep. You can kind of see them trying to climb into the trail and the loose boulders and rocks. This rescue, luckily, the guy wasn't injured too bad, and he wasn't dehydrated or anything like that. So luckily, we can get him down. This was in later this year, about a month ago, October 10th, I believe. And we went up there, David, Evan, and I, and we found this guy again in between the Undercliff and the Cornish Trail, approximately where we found the first two lost hikers last year. And we managed to get him down, but this time it was a little bit more precarious because we were climbing up loose boulders. As you can see, the gradients were pretty steep, and you can look out far and you can kind of see how high we actually went up to get this guy. It was almost like another rock scramble. That's pretty much what it was at some points. And there were a lot of loose rocks, and we had to be careful about not kicking down any loose boulders and rocks on us, on each other, going down and coming up. So we took our time to get down, and I did have a different setup at the time there. I had my Maxpedition Proteus Versa pack on me. That's what I had for rescue gear. And Luckily, this didn't go into the nighttime where we had to use flashlights. But this gentleman, luckily we got him down, and he went back home, no injuries. So this was another good rescue. Very, very risky one, I would say, because of the loose boulders and the potential of knocking down a whole cascade of rocks on each other that could kill us. But it was in and out. Luckily, we got it done, and my coworkers really did a good job. So in this clip here, we have the hiker. We had to get down in certain cases very low to the ground. You can kind of see him almost kicking a rock down there that might have potentially fallen on Evan. And David's kind of spread down there behind the tree. He's pretty smart about that, and to have something in between him and whatever comes down. So that kind of just illustrates the severity of the situation in terms of taking our time getting down the steep climb there with all the loose rocks. And this was only one portion of it. In addition to that, we had to worry about potentially rattlesnakes potentially and copperheads sunbathing on the rocks. So luckily we didn't run into any of that up there, which was pretty good. Where I work in the parks, there's a part near Breakneck Ridge, which is a den for rattlesnakes, and I have seen copperheads up there as well. So that was always something in the back of our minds, coming down and going up as well. So in this example, we can see our hiker. We found him luckily not too far up the Washburn Trail. That's the white trail on the map, and it was freezing out because this is late November, mid-November night, and this guy was up there. He didn't have any water, backpack, any kind of hiking gear. He only had a cell phone and a lightweight puffer jacket, and he had been up there since let's see, if I remember correctly, he told me he was up there with his friends about 12:30, and when we got up to him, it was about 5:30, and he got too tired going up, and he told his group of friends to go on ahead without him, and they left him there. And unfortunately, he got stuck in the woods, and he called for help at about like 4 o'clock or so, 4 p.m. So about 4 hours after he went up. So he had been up there for a while, and it was dark already, getting dark. Luckily, we reached him shortly after that, I'd say about an hour or so, and he was off the trail. There were a few issues. Then he found the trail, luckily, again, when we found him. So he wasn't too far down, rather too far up the white trail. He was just basically before the white and yellow junctions when we found him. Again, he looked pretty tired and sore from being out in the woods. So we checked him. It didn't appear to have any life-threatening issues other than being cold and sore, which can be, I guess, arguably a life-threatening issue, but he seemed pretty cognizant. So Evan checked him over, and we got him down. He was moving pretty slow because his knees were kind of sore and locking up on him. So we took our time going down, as you can see in the video, and he was pretty tired. We gave him a flashlight. The lights that I used on this one were the Olight Warrior Mini. I had a I1R2 EOS attached to my fanny pack, the Max Edition Proteus Versa Pack. So I turned that on, and I had a Zebralight HW600 Mark II in neutral white. That was the primary headlamp you can see in the video here. So I had two lights going, one to kind of shine on the rocks in front of him, even though we gave him a light. He seemed pretty disoriented in not using it too well, so I kind of just helped him out, illuminate his area, so you can kind of see like the leaves and the water. It was a very slippery and wet condition in some parts of the trail, so we had to take our time going down. Luckily, we got him down, and we drove him to the train station in Cold Spring, and he was able to get home. So that was a good, pretty straightforward grab, luckily. But I hope that these kind of illustrate what the rescues look like. They're not always like this. We don't always bring the exact same gear all the time either, or it doesn't always go as planned usually. Sometimes it's a matter of trying to find where they are. Sometimes we have to call in, emergency services to go up with us, law enforcement, fire crew, you name it. And it's an important thing when you go out in the woods and you're hiking. You go out there prepared, because if you're not, even if you are, you can still get lost and injured too. So some of these, not in these examples, but in some examples, we've gotten injured hikers who were prepared. It's just bad luck. So that's just the nature of the beast. That's Mother Nature. So Mother Nature doesn't care how much you know or how much you pack on you or prepared. It's still gonna affect you regardless. So, but it's important that you keep these things in mind when you go hiking. And if you're not prepared, you probably should be prepared. I just wanted to do this video and show everybody what I use my gear for, that I review and go over a lot. I have a different variety of gear that I use. Most of the time we're attached with an EMT unit and law enforcement usually. Park police, those guys are great. They work really hard actually. Pretty hard workers. So a lot of our first responders that come with us are really important and get the job done. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I got to say for now. Just wanted to show you an example of what I do. Thanks for watching.